Hello, this is Overtime with STL High School Sports. I'm Ben Loewnau.
I'm Dave Kvidahl.
Today we're going to be wrapping up Week 1 and updating you on some of the big topics, the big games, everything that happened in Week 1 in Missouri. And we're going to be talking about next week. Illinois starts up, and it's going to be a pretty big week of games. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about PHL, the Public High League. They had a big week this week, especially Vashon traveling to take on a state finalist and upsetting them. Dave, tell us more about that.
Well, Ben, you mentioned the Public High League had a banner weekend. Vashon kicked it off literally down in Cape Central. They beat the Class 4 runner-up last year, Cape Central Tigers, 34-32 in overtime. They dressed 22 guys, but they only played 14 and still managed to win in overtime. Big Levi Stockard, who is a basketball prospect and a football lineman most days, they put him in at tight end to catch the game-tying touchdown in overtime.
Oh, my goodness.
Just a big win for the Wolverines, who then have to turn around and they take on reigning Public High League champion Miller Career Academy, Saturday, 10 a.m. at Sumner High. If you're a big Public High League fan, I recommend you be there. It's going to be a good ball game. Should be a lot of fun.
Okay, we'll actually be covering that one, so stay on the lookout for updates, photos, and more on that game over at Sumner with Miller and Vashon. A little more on the 6-1-8, the Illinois side. We've got some big matchups, a couple big teams in Illinois traveling up to Chicago this weekend. Tell us more about that, Dave.
Well, O'Fallon's going to open its season up at Hinsdale Central on Friday night. We will actually be there covering that, so keep an eye out for that. And East St. Louis is going to bus up on Saturday, and they're going to take on Chicago Simeon. So two huge games over there. Friday night, number 2 small school Althoff opens its season, and they're going to take on Collinsville and new coach Rick Reichert. And, I mean, Collinsville has, quite frankly, been one of the downtrodden programs in the Southwestern Conference. Rick Reichert has been brought in to turn those things around for the K-Hawks, pardon me. And it's a real tough first test. Althoff is loaded. Like I said, they're a number 2 small school. It should be a good ball game for both sides at Lindenwood Belleville University's campus.
One of the other games that we covered in Week 1 was Eureka and Lafayette. Big rivalry. A couple interesting storylines there. Dave's going to tell us a little bit more about that. We had a big-time win over there for the first-year coach.
Jake Sumner, a Eureka alum, played there. His brother is actually the defensive coordinator, or one of the defensive coaches, I should say, at Lafayette. Got his first win as Eureka kind of beat up on their Rockwood rival, Lafayette. It was 35-14, but that last touchdown came in the last 30 seconds when the second, third string kind of kids were in. So it's not like Lafayette has a lot of time to lick its wounds, though. They get to host Hazelwood Central Friday at Parkway West because Lafayette's field is still under construction. So the Lancers have a lot of work cut out for them. But congratulations to Eureka and Jake Sumner and their big offensive line. And Hassan Haskins, sophomore running back.
Oh, big game.
39 carries, 254 yards, didn't score a touchdown. Cam Nesbitt caught 3 touchdown passes, big senior wide receiver. But the Wildcats rode young Mr. Haskins as far as he could take him.
There's quite a bit going on aside from that Lafayette-Hazelwood Central game on Friday and Saturday. A lot of big ones featured aside from the Vashon game as well. Any more big ones that we want to watch out for, Dave?
Well, Class 5 finalist Nix is going to come up, and they're going to play at Francis Howell. The Vikings got a huge win over Webster Groves, 42-0 to open the season. So I look for that to be a good ball game. Jeff City's going to come back. You might have heard about Harry Ballard's big performance on Friday.
5 touchdowns, yeah.
Kid had a big day, but kind of lost in that was Jeff City put up 64 points. It'll be interesting to see what Jeff City can do up at CBC, which CBC just came back from Faro Field, actually, in Columbia. They beat up Columbia Hickman pretty good, 66-7. So Class 6 powerhouse matchup over at CBC to open things at home for the Class 6 defending champ.
And as always, with all those big games, you want to check out the newspaper, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, STLtoday.com, and STLHighSchoolSports.com. We've got great coverage all weekend long of the top games, updates, and way more than that. And as you'll see in this weekend's paper, on the front of the sports page, we had Howell and Webster on the cover there. Expect more of that to come. Follow us on Twitter at STLHS Sports and on Facebook at STL High School Sports. We'll have everything and more that you want on there: box scores, updates, photo galleries, game stories, and much, much more. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you for watching. This has been Overtime with STL High School Sports. I'm Ben Loewnau.
And I'm Dave Kvidahl.
Have a good week.